This is an ABC 12 News special report.
We are breaking into your programming as we approach the noon hour on this October the 16th. We do have breaking news to report to you about General Motors and union leaders reaching a tentative deal that could end the month-long strike with the 49,000 workers across the country that walked off the job. We're still working to gather the latest information at this hour, but word is they have reached a tentative agreement.
Yeah, details of the 4-year deal have not been released, but what this means is that we will still see picketing for at least the next few days. We knew there were some changes. Union leaders from across the country were coming into Detroit, and so there was a lot of signs, new signs in fact, that they might have come up with something that both sides could agree on.
Yeah, a big sign there that led us to believe that this was reaching a deal is that the CEO, Mary Barra of GM, was joining the negotiating table. She was there at the bargaining table this week. Again, that meeting planned for tomorrow. But looking back, you know, more than 50 GM factories and parts warehouses across the U.S. have been at a standstill for the past 31 days during this strike. Some of the biggest sticking points here that union members were wanting: higher wages, more job security, better health care benefits, and another big sticking point, a clear path to permanency for temporary workers with GM.
Yeah, and our own Elise Ramey is live outside the Ren Center in Detroit, where they have been hashing all this out. Elise, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Christine, Matt, a source tells me that a tentative agreement has been reached. That news just making its way down here outside the Renaissance Center in Detroit. And I'm with UAW members right now who are reacting to that news. Sharon Brown, you're from Flint Assembly. Tell me, what's your reaction to hearing that a tentative agreement has been reached?
I'm happy. I was looking forward to it. I didn't expect it today, but I'm happy nonetheless. What
is it that you are specifically looking for in this deal?
Job security and just our health benefits. That's, you know, and we got some brothers and sisters who are temps. They're looking for a long-term solution. So, you know, those are the main keys that, you know, most of us are kind of looking forward to. So, but I'm just happy I'm happy we have it. I'm happy to look forward to seeing what's in it and hearing more about it.
Speaking of temp workers, one of them traveled from Indiana today. First, tell me your name.
Jessica.
And Jessica, you are out here because you say that you've been working for 3.5 years doing the same work, receiving less pay and less benefits. Knowing that a tentative agreement has been reached, how do you feel?
I'm excited. I hope that we get what we want, not only for us, but all future GM employees.
Yeah, so what is it that would cause you to possibly vote no on this agreement?
Not a clear direct path for temporary employees. That's really important to me because that's what I am. It's time for GM to stop using and abusing us. Yeah.
All right, so like I said, the news just making its way down here outside GM's world headquarters in Detroit. A source confirming to us that a tentative agreement has been reached, but there are still many steps that need to follow after this, as you heard Christine and Matt detailing at the beginning of the breaking news announcement. Of course, we'll have much more reaction from workers out here, and we'll learn more about what's possibly in that agreement coming up. So make sure you stay connected to ABC 12, both on air and online. For now, I'll send it back to Christine and Matt in the studio.
Thank you, Elise. And, you know, we do want to note again that this is a tentative deal. Still, a lot of things need to happen before anything is finalized, including some crucial votes. But it is interesting to note the last big strike was in 1998 in Flint at the metal fab there, and it lasted 54 days. It was the longest strike since 1970, when nearly 3,500 GM workers walked out. But we have seen quite a bit in just these past, 31 days as the strike has drawn out.
Yeah, just going back over that timeline, the nearly 50,000 workers walked off the line at midnight Sunday, September the 15th, after failing to reach that agreement and halting production in more than 24 factories, putting those nearly 50,000 workers there on the picket line. Then one day later, GM stopped paying for health insurance workers, and that was an initial sign that the strike may be going on for quite some time. Then on September the 20th, members received their last paycheck from the company. 10 days later, they would start receiving their strike pay at $250 a week. And then, as we've been reporting and telling you, that was just increased just a few days ago to $275. Since October 6th, top bargainers have been working on proposals and counter proposals as they have continued to move forward to reaching a deal. And this is a live look again out of Detroit as some of those workers are still on the picket line at this hour. And also reporting out of Detroit, our affiliate there, to pass along, they have a statement from UAW GM Department VP Terry Dittez and UAW President Gary Jones, saying, quote, "The #1 priority of the national negotiation team has been to secure a strong and fair contract that our members deserve. Out of respect for our members, we will refrain from commenting on all the details until the UAW GM leaders gather together and receive all of that information." He goes on to say, Dittez, "We are extremely grateful to the thousands of Americans who donated goods and helped our striking workers and their families. As we await the council's decision, please know that the outpouring of community and national support will be etched in the memories of all of us at the UAW for years to come." Gary Jones saying the dignity, grace, and solidarity demonstrated by our members during the last few weeks are prime examples of what this union is all about, supporting one another in the good and bad times and never giving up. Our more than 48,000 members standing their ground have captured the hearts and minds of people across this country. I could not be prouder of our brothers and sisters, our national negotiators, and the National Council as they continue to fight one day longer to secure the best deal for our members. Again, if you're just joining us, we are reporting at this hour General Motors and union leaders have reached a tentative deal that could end this month-long strike of those 49,000 workers.
Yeah, and we can note here that the workers that are on strike, they'll be on those picket lines for a few more days. This all has to be hashed out and voted on. There's going to be an important vote tomorrow in Detroit, and we're seeing, union leaders from across the nation come here to weigh in on what's happening. But there's been so much contention. As of late, though, we've seen some changes in who's coming to the table. We knew that GM CEO Mary Barra met with negotiators for a second time yesterday morning. UAW President Gary Jones, Vice President Terry Dittez, who's kind of been the voice throughout this, was also in the room. And
we've seen the ripple effects coming out of this strike, not only with the workers who are not on the job. We've seen the ripple effect with suppliers saying that their parts have been affected, and we've talked about even to the average customer not being able to get their cars repaired. There's been a financial cost as well during this latest strike. It is estimated that GM lost just more than $1 million an hour. It cost UAW about $12.5 million every week that the strike has been going on. Again, that strike fund, strike pay coming out of that fund. And at one point, you remember too that there was a fight over health care, that the UAW members had thought that they would be set, that GM would cover that cost. Instead, COBRA coverage kicked in through the union, and then GM later went back and said, no, we will continue for the duration of the strike. We're going to continue with health care. So there's been a lot of elements here playing into that. And as Elise just mentioned to us, she's in Detroit, the workers that we are hearing from are saying, hey, look, we're out here, we're proud, we want a good deal, but we also want to get back to. Yeah, and that's a live look right now. This is a live look at what's happening. As we mentioned, we are going to